Did you know that in 2025, as global tensions rise with new U.S. tariffs and regional upheavals, 8 nations are so deeply entangled in India's economic web that cutting those ties could trigger chaos, from workforce collapses to supply chain breakdowns. Buckle up, because today we are counting down the top 8 countries that simply can't survive without India, blending hard-hitting facts, surprising stats, and the latest 2025 twists that are reshaping our world. Starting at number 8. Saudi Arabia, the oil giant whose economy pulses with Indian ingenuity. Home to over 2.6 million Indian expatriates, the kingdom relies on this skilled workforce for everything from construction to healthcare, fueling Vision 2030's mega projects. In FY 2024 to 25, bilateral trade hit a staggering $41.88 billion, with India gobbling up $30.12 billion in Saudi crude oil while exporting gems, machinery, and pharma worth $11.76 billion. But here's the 2025 shocker. Amid a new Saudi-Pakistan defense pact rattling regional nerves, Riyadh pledged $12 billion in investments to India's renewables, underscoring how Saudi's diversification dreams hinge on Indian markets and manpower. Without India, Saudi's labor shortages could stall its post-oil pivot, turning black gold dreams into dusty delays. Educational takeaway: interdependence isn't just trade, it's the human glue holding modern economies together. Clocking in at number 7. The United Arab Emirates, Dubai's glittering hub where Indian sweat and smarts build the future. With 3.5 million Indians forming 30% of the population, the UAE depends on remittances totaling $19.2 billion annually, 19% of India's total inflows, powering everything from skyscrapers to sovereign funds. Trade soared in H1 2025, with 22,415 new Indian firms flooding the market, up 10% from last year, injecting tech and textiles into the UAE's non-oil economy. The latest buzz: a fresh golden visa scheme tailored for Indians, signaling deeper ties amid US-China trade wars. Imagine Dubai's malls empty without Indian engineers or its ports idle sans Mumbai's merchants. Survival here means leaning on India's demographic dividend. Fun fact: this migrant magic isn't exploitation. It's a symbiotic surge, educating us on how people power global growth. Number 6. The United States, the superpower secretly hooked on India's brain and brawn in pharma and IT. America imports over a third of its generics from India, worth $20 billion yearly, keeping drug prices low amid skyrocketing healthcare costs. Indian IT firms like Infosys and TCS manage 60% of U.S. outsourcing, saving billions while innovating AI frontiers. But 2025's curveball: President Trump's 100% tariffs on branded drugs spared generics but sparked jitters, with Indian exports dipping 5% in Q3 as firms eye Europe. A study revealed Indian meds are 54% more reliable than alternatives, proving the U.S. can't wean off this lifeline without prescription chaos. Lesson learned: in a tariff-torn world, India's cost-effective genius isn't optional. It's oxygen for American innovation. Dropping to number 5. Bangladesh, the Bengal tiger cub whose roar relies on India's neighborly nourishment. India supplies 70% of Dhaka's rice, wheat, and onions, plus 1,200 MW of power, stabilizing food security for 170 million souls amid climate floods. July 2025 trade hit $984 million in Indian exports alone, up 22% year over year, fueling garments and infrastructure. Post-Hasina's 2024 ouster, relations chilled with trade curbs. But by September, Army Chief Waqar-uz-Zaman's overtures hinted at a reset, averting energy blackouts. Without India, Bangladesh's borders could boil over with shortages. Think empty plates sparking unrest. Key insight: shared rivers teach us that economic survival in South Asia demands diplomatic dams, not walls. At number 4. Sri Lanka, the teardrop island emerging from crisis, clutching India's bailout buoy. Colombo owes India over $7 billion in aid, including debt swaps that staved off default in 2022's meltdown, now extended into 2025 with fuel and food shipments. July trade balanced at $340 million Indian exports for essentials like pharma and machinery, while India eyes Isla's ports for strategic depth. Fresh off President Dissanayak's 2025 India visit, A pro-market pivot includes $3 billion fuel deals, blending Indian generosity with Chinese rivalry. Cut the cord, and Sri Lanka's recovery crumbles. Empty refineries, starving cities. Educational gem. Post-crisis bonds reveal how aid evolves into alliances, fortifying fragile economies against global storms. Number 3. Nepal. The Himalayan heartbeat sink to India's economic pulse. Kathmandu's trade is 63% India-bound, $8.02 billion in 2024 to 25, importing oil, food, and machinery that keep lights on and factories humming. Remittances from 800,000 Nepali workers in India add $1.5 billion yearly. Amid 2025's Gen Z uprising toppling governments, India pledged stabilization aid, exporting 40 MW hydropower in June to avert blackouts. Instability here risks open border spillovers to India. Think refugee waves or radicalism. Survival lesson. Nepal's story spotlights how geography forges fates, urging youth-led reforms rooted in regional resilience. Sinking to number 2. The Maldives. Paradise atolls adrift without India's anchor. Muitsu's India out faded fast. By July 2025, Modi unveiled a $565 million credit line, slashing debt repayments and launching free trade talks to revive tourism and fisheries. India supplies 60% of mail's food and meds, plus radar tech guarding EZs from pirates. The flip. Post-2024 elections. Economic woes forced a reset, with Indian firms building desalination plants amid rising seas. No India means submerged resorts and starving islands. Pure peril. Insightful twist. This saga shows how climate and cash compel comebacks, educating us on ocean diplomacy's delicate dance. And at number 1. Bhutan, the dragon kingdom whose wings are clipped to India's flight path. Thimphu imports 60% of goods from India, fuel, food, machinery, worth $101 million in July 2025 alone, up 10% yearly, while exporting hydropower for $500 million revenue. As India's top aid recipient $2.15 billion in 2025, Bhutan leans on Delhi for defense and development, sealed by June's cooperation talks and an August agriculture MOU boosting food security. Without this bond, Bhutan's carbon-neutral dreams dissolve into isolation. Ultimate education. True sovereignty thrives in symbiosis, proving small states shine brightest in big brother shadows. Hugh, what a whirlwind. From Saudi sands to Bhutanese peaks, India's invisible threads weave global survival in 2025. If this countdown blew your mind, hit like, subscribe for more geo-economic deep dives, and drop a comment. Which tie surprises you most? Stay curious, stay connected. India's not just rising, it's the rope many cling to. See you next time.